تمشيش تمشيش.
The truck crossing Rafah border are a small window of hope, but they are nowhere near enough to meet the rising needs of the people inside Gaza. We cannot afford to wait. We need to deliver life-saving supplies continuously and at a much larger scale.
تمكنت ما يقرب من 20 شاحنة محملة بالمساعدات المتنوعة. معلق العدد انت؟
On Gaza, just our humanitarian colleagues are telling us that 20 trucks crossed into Gaza from the Rafah border in Egypt today. That's according to the Egyptian Red Crescent. On Saturday and Sunday, you'll recall that a total of 34 trucks were able to enter Gaza with life-saving supplies. This is the equivalent to no more than 4% of the daily average of volumes of commodities entering Gaza. This was obviously prior to this current crisis. The Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs, Martin Griffiths, said in a tweet yesterday that this represents another glimmer of hope for the millions of people in dire needs of humanitarian aid in Gaza, but they need much more. Aid deliveries entering Gaza have not included fuel. The UN Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA, tells us that they will exhaust their fuel reserves within the coming days. And of course, UNRWA is the largest supplier of humanitarian aid in Gaza from the UN side. And also on a programming note, there will be a Security Council briefer as well, and someone will tell me who that is before the end of the day. The trip to Rafah and his ability to speak very directly and very bluntly about the need for aid to go in, and then the subsequent aid trucks that have been going in is positive. I think, as others have said, it's a drop in the bucket. I mean, I think the number of trucks that usually went into Gaza every day was about 450 or so, and now we're seeing 20 or 30, and we're not seeing any fuel, which is a great concern. I mean, I checked in with our UNRWA colleagues just before walking in here, and they are they can see the bottom of the fuel tank. I mean, we're talking days, and when that happens, that will be truly devastating on top of what is already a devastating humanitarian situation.
So the main reason why you're not getting this.
For the 14th consecutive day, Gaza remains under a full electricity blackout. The situation in hospital remains dire given the shortage of electricity, medicine, equipment, and specialized personnel. The Shifa hospital in Gaza, the largest in the Strip, is currently treating some 5,000 patients, significantly over its normal capacity of 700.
Response in Gaza that they have to comply and act within international law.
The UN interim force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, reports that tensions remain high in southern Lebanon as several exchanges of fires were observed along the Blue Line over the weekend, including in Aita Ashab, Hula, Yarun, and other locations. The mission is deeply concerned about the risk of further escalation and widening of the conflict and urges all actors to cease hostile activities.
Pause, which is the language used by the European Parliament.
The humanitarian situation, it's not me who's going to explain you what you can watch at the TV screens. It's very dire, and the only thing that we can do is to ask for a humanitarian pause and to increase the access of the humanitarian support. This is what is in our hands, and that's what we are doing. We're engaging all our political capacity, financial resources, logistic capacity in order to make the humanitarian support to reach the border, to go into Gaza, and to make pressure in order to ask for the respect of the law of the war. This is what is in our hands, and that's what we are doing.
Good afternoon, everyone. I don't have any opening comments today, so.
You need upwards of 1,100 truck deliveries per week. Is the U.S. expecting that the pace of aid delivery is going to ramp up? I have a couple of follow-ups.
We are working on a sustained mechanism to ensure that aid comes through the Rafah crossing consistently. You're right that we do not think the delivery of one convoy, two convoys, three convoys is sufficient. We want to see sustained traffic going through Rafah, delivering humanitarian assistance. And the exact mechanism of how we do that is something that Ambassador Satterfield has been working on with the government of Egypt, the government of Israel, and the United Nations.
If the Israelis have a legitimate view that the fuel could be used to launch further attacks against them.
That is an issue that we are discussing now with Israeli authorities. The humanitarian organizations that are operating inside Gaza to distribute the humanitarian assistance that we have flowing in from Rafah need to have the ability to do so. They need fuel to be able to do so. Fuel is important to the desalination of water. It's important to the provision of medical care. As you said, the Israelis do have legitimate concerns about the diversion of any fuel to Hamas. You can understand why they would be concerned about that, and so that's one of the issues that Ambassador Satterfield is working through.
And then finally, there.
Al-Quds Hospital in Gaza, one of the biggest hospitals and so on. Israel has been asking people to vacate it. There are people on their houses. There are sick people that cannot leave and so on. Do you consider that to be a legitimate target if Israel deems it necessary to strike it?
So again, I don't know the situation. I'm not in a position to decide, let me finish. I'm not in a position to sit here and offer an assessment from this podium of whether there is Hamas infrastructure embedded in that hospital or not. I will say that as a the general principle that I have outlined stands, which is that they have a right to strike legitimate military targets, do so in a way that minimizes civilian harm. But as I just said, we are working to develop a mechanism to help protect medical facilities and other humanitarian sites.
Okay. The president the other day said that Hamas must pay a price. Now, we have had 5,000 killed. We don't know exactly how many people did. There may be another 1,000 under the rubble and so on.
غزة. الغارة استهدفت محيط المكتب الشهيرة في غزة. الغارة وقعت في أرض كان يتواجد عليها برج الجلاء الذي كان فيه مكتب الجزيرة. في الساعات الماضية. في خان يونس ودمرته بالكامل، كما استهدفت مكتب يحيى سنوار في مدينة غزة أثناء